that's why I love showing up on social media as myself, because I want people to know that I'm still figuring this out and that you can too. Like, you can show up as yourself and not knowing what's next, but you have a power and a voice in that.
Welcome to the Loft podcast, the space for creatives who aren't just dreamers, but doers, where storytelling, faith, and creativity meet. Here we dive deep into the minds of artists, entrepreneurs, thinkers, who are changing the world with their art. I'm your host, Justice. Let's get into the conversation.
All right. And this is the part I hate.
With the awkward beginning part?
Yes, the intro. And it's so short. Okay. Let me get in my mode.
Why do you hate it?
Just because, like...
It doesn't feel natural?
No.
Oh, maybe
what feels natural is just...
starting.
Yeah. And I have, like, a formal intro to the podcast as far as explaining what it is.
Yeah, that's recorded, right?
Yeah, that's already recorded. But it's the... Welcome back to the...
Yeah, I feel it.
It feels very... And
Scripted.
You're right. I like what you just said. Just change it. Or just don't do it.
Do something else, girl. Especially if you already have, like, the intro part.
You just jump right in.
Well, let's see how it goes. Go ahead. Okay. I'm ready.
That's going to be the intro. Welcome back to the Loft podcast. We have a very, very special guest today. It's Kadeja. We love her. Okay, so first, tell the people who you are and all of the things that you do.
Okay.
Because I know it's a list.
It's a list,
Yeah.
but we're going to keep it short. Hi, everyone. My name is Kadeja. I am a creative that happens to make a living off of her creativity, which is great.
The dream.
The dream, living the dream, or some people may say. So I'm a social media manager. I'm a video editor, and also like a content producer. Not also like I am a content producer.
Yes.
So,
okay. Yeah.
Right.
Period.
Showing up in a lot of different spaces online as myself, showing my creativity.
Yeah. So listen, when I first wanted to have you on the podcast, I was like, I had different words that came to mind for different people. And for you, it was authenticity, which was good. Yeah. Cause I was just like, when I thought about that, I'm like, she shows up and I don't even know you going back knowing you, but I knew you enough to know that like, oh, that's her. It feels real. It feels like she's being herself, consistent across the board. And so where did that, was that always there, or did that have to develop over time?
I think the confidence and being comfortable had to develop over time. But when I started in 2020, I just looked at social media as a way to like present myself and kind of just showcase what it is that I'm doing. And I never wanted to kind of overthink it or try to not be myself, because I think that's what that relatability kind of connects us as people. So yeah, I just kind of kept showing up as myself and people were drawn to that. So I was like, oh, it's working, I guess.
It is. Yeah, like just like you said, relatability. I'm like, I feel like I know her from around the way. Like, she's cool.
That's what I like. Instagram, it makes you, even though like it's a complex, like, oh, you think you know people, but you really don't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it gives you a level of, like if you see me out, you know what I did last week, or you can remember like, oh yeah, she said she about this restaurant. So you have like a connection with people online. So yeah, I love that.
That's good. That's good. All right. So I wanted to start with who Kadeja was prior to the creative entrepreneur, doing all of the things, showing up consistently.
It seems like a whole different person. I'm like, well, I've already met like 3 different people since 2020. So the person before that was fresh out of grad school, thinking that she knew, well, not even grad school dropout. So thinking that she knew what the next 5 years was going to be. Like, I was very self-assured. I thought I was going to be a school social worker, working in the schools with the kids. I worked in element. Right? So random. Right? That's what people say. Every time they have that reaction, like, wait, you used to do what?
Okay.
Yeah. I was worked for a company called Communities in School. So I was a site coordinator, basically bringing all the fun stuff, the mentors, the community events into the schools. I worked at elementary school, middle and high school level. So I always thought
I can see how that relates a little bit to what you do.
Because I can't.
just if you take away the kids aspect, bringing people together, or just being able to own a space. So if you're bringing events and things, like you show up to the events, you may be covering the event,
but I'm in the mix in the community. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And just comfortable with people too. It had to prepare you.
It's somewhere, yeah, for sure. And I can't wait until it like really marinates, because I do miss working with kids and like direct community engagement and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I was before. Full stop, I guess. That's what I thought. I thought I was going to be in the schools. My dad was also in the school system.
Okay.
So I just thought this was like the path. Never really thought what else could happen or like in my 30s or where I would be in the future. Just this is what it is for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
What was the defining moment or the thing that disrupted that whole plan?
So remember this thing called COVID? Like COVID came
God, it changed
thought,
everybody.
You know, it really did. In good ways and bad ways. For me, thank God it was like a good way.
Okay.
And it impacted me to kind of sit down and think about what it is that I wanted to do and like what felt good for me in the moment. And I had a lot of time to explore. And what also happened was we started working with kids remotely. Okay. And I did not like that. I liked working with kids directly, actually being in person. And I thought about, oh, what can I do beyond this? Like I started applying for different jobs and I was already posting my creative things online, my illustrations, and that was getting good feedback. And I said, oh, I kind of like this social media marketing thing. Let me see what else I could do. So I looked up a digital marketing job with Planned Parenthood and they gave me a shot.
So you had so prior to this, you hadn't been in any illustration creative space at all?
No, not at all.
Well,
I kind of tweet, shout out to Ray Pickett, who is my boss at Planned Parenthood. And she was like, I think this girl got something. I basically used the Instagram page that I Kayla Co, which is my illustration. So I basically used that as my resume and kind of tweaked. Like you said, it had a community-ish vibe, my past job. So it wasn't so far-fetched, but it was like, girl, you ain't never been no social media marketer. You ain't never run no emails beyond what I did for my own business. But she saw that and said, oh, this girl has something. So, yeah, that's how I did
what gave you the confidence to say, like, I've never done this before, and these people are going to pay me now
to do it
for them?
Literally, my dad always said, like, the worst thing that people can say is no.
Yeah.
So I've always had the inkling to put myself out there, and if it didn't work, like, I still had a job. It wasn't like I was out back. So, yeah, I just went for it and said, like, if they say no, let me go back to what my degree is in. Let me go back to human services because maybe I do need a degree to kind of speak for me. But what came out was, oh, I can actually just use my experiences, too, and kind of couple it to kind of create a different path for myself if I so choose.
Yeah. What was different from doing that? So, like, working with the kids and connecting with them, putting on events, I don't know all that it entails, but doing that, what was the biggest difference between doing that and now running the social
media? Digitally?
Yeah.
Everything. Because being in person is definitely more stressful because so many different things can go wrong. So online, that's a good question. It kind of ebbs and flows. Like you don't have as much control over things as you may have in person.
Right.
So I think letting go a little bit more and just seeing what happens in event space, that's a really good question, girl. It's completely different. Like, it's like really different.
Yeah. But I'm glad you said letting go because so let's fast forward a little bit to when you were no longer working in this corporate setting and you had to tell us what happened because I don't want to.
What happened was I lost my job. So, like I said, I was working remotely with Planned Parenthood doing digital organizing, social media marketing for them. And then I had the great idea to move to the big city. So I moved to the DMV area, which was great socially as well as financially. Because as you know, like I'm in Richmond, Virginia, if you don't know, the cost of living is cheaper, but also the jobs don't pay as much as some of the bigger cities. So when I moved to DC, I was making the most money I ever made. I was like commuting. I was really living the life, y'all. I was living this city girl life. It was great. But in February, I lost my job. I got laid off. And
what was going through your mind during that moment?
I was ecstatic. Like, no, seriously.
No, I feel it.
The whole time, I knew that it wasn't a good fit for me anyway. And we had went through one cycle of layoffs, and I was unscathed, which was weird because I'm like, I was one of the most recent hires. Like, social media is usually the first person to go.
Yeah.
Or that, in the grand scheme of things, it's like, okay, we can let the digital person go.
Which is so unfortunate.
Because without your digital person, what are you really doing?
How are you showing up? I mean, especially 2024. I think it's so necessary now to have, or at least these big businesses and brands to have somebody designated or even a team designated to
a communications team
establish.
And then it's someone over like the social and the email and like something like that. But a lot of people think, oh, well, the communications person can do it all. No, they can't. No, no, that's a multiple people position. But yeah, so I got laid off. And when I heard the news, I was just like, thank God. Because God was already like putting me in different positions. I was looking at the numbers. I was trying to figure out how many clients I needed, if I wanted to go full time, because that always was in the back of my mind. Ever since I started my first business, I always wanted to experience what it would be like going full time. So I think, well, I know now that was him pushing me into that space, because I always would have been like, when the
Comfortable.
right, whenever it happens, you know, because that check keeps coming in. So what is the point? Why would you leave?
Yeah, when I heard about like when you put it online, I thought to myself, that's exactly what was happening. It was like you've been playing around in it for a little bit, and this over here is keeping you complacent. It's keeping you comfortable. Like you said, it's
The
stability.
check is coming in, it's not too bad.
But then you
it's not too
can't be
stressful.
like, you couldn't fully show up in this creative space and do all of the things that you're now doing.
So many things, yeah.
But I can only imagine how scary that was.
Yeah.
Because now it's all on you to bring in
money. Yeah, girl. The rent comes every month. Like, the bills are due. So thankfully, like, I was playing in it. So I had different pathways. I had money coming in. I had a severance pay, thank God, that I could sit on and really think and plan out, okay, so how many clients do I need? What do I want to offer? Like, how do I want to move forward in the next 6 months, the next year? I'm still in the first year of entrepreneurship. It hasn't even been a year yet, but
wow, and you've done so much.
girl,
Yeah.
too much. And I think like the first year it's been great, but I want to figure out, okay, like, let's really hone in, figure out what you want to offer, how much money you want to make per month, like those types of goals. Because honestly, I've just been on go mode trying to survive, you know?
Okay.
So it hasn't been a complete business plan with the numbers and the figures and this is what we're going to go execute. It's like, girl, we need to make this much money this month. We going to hustle and we going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
But I don't think we all have that figure it out in us. Like over time, because like for me, I think I would be scared and want to go back to what I knew before. Like you said, just go back to my
back to the
degree.
job. Yep.
Yeah. Versus saying, how can I lean all the way into this opportunity? Even seeing it as an opportunity versus like a setback of being laid off.
Yeah.
And so I could imagine how, well, let me say this. When you were finding clients and things, when you were fully laid off and in your entrepreneurship journey, was that part easy because you said you were already networking, you were already talking to these circles?
That part was easy. That part, I was already working with people that were ready for me to be full-time, that were ready for me to be like, oh, you have even more time? Perfect, let's go.
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
And then those people, and another reason why I love living in the DMV area, a lot of people are in that similar space anyway. So they know people that know people, and they're like, oh, girl, you need another client? I got somebody over here that, oh, let me tell you about my social media manager. She does video editing on the side. So it was really great, and I'm blessed and fortunate for the network that I have and that I do good work and I show up, and they're comfortable with sharing my name. So,
yeah. How did you find like your sauce, your flavor in social media, like content creation? And because it's a loud and noisy world, so being able to do it and stand out too is challenging.
Sometimes I don't think I do.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't think I do, and sometimes I think that, yeah.
So did you do you feel like you found your voice in it?
I feel like it's coming.
Okay.
I feel like it's coming. I know what I do works. Do I think I'm pushing the envelope all the time? No.
What do you think's holding you back from pushing through?
Honestly, the time and the space, because I have so many clients and I'm trying to get that to the paper. It's like, girl, we need to execute. We don't have time for me to think out this big, thorough content plan, you know, where I can really launch something incredible. It's like, no, girl, we need 3 posts a week. Because this check says we need 3 posts a week. This contract is for 30 posts.
Okay.
We don't have time for you to be, you know, dreaming about something to take off like that. But I have a few clients that are like, how much would it cost for you to completely hone in and be with me?
Just me?
Just me. And I think that's what 2025 would be for me is like, okay, I need one client, one project that I can think and go to the next level. Yeah.
Okay. So to go back to like producing videos and editing, were you self-taught that, or did you?
Yep.
Okay.
I figured that out too. I was like, this CapCut thing isn't too crazy. But, and then I have like a natural instinct to kind of play around a little bit and things anyway. And I think, like you were saying about the sauce, I think maybe that's what it is. Like maybe because I do things a little different and you do things a little differently. Yeah, that makes us stand out.
Yeah. Well, you just showing up as you already stands you out with like, it reminds me of like some of your vlog style reels and things and how you're like, how you use your voice and how you tell stories. It's unique to you. And, more people could take that, that advice of just being more authentic to themselves versus trying to do the thing that they think works on social media.
Yeah.
So like, do you have to kind of adjust based off of, because you're client based, so you're in the service business. How does that work with like the trending and the moving?
That's the thing where I think it's a balance. Because I think like it's important for you to have your brand voice, but then to not be naive and say, this 15-second reel is what's going to move the needle, and using this trending audio is what's going to move the people. But at the same time, you have to add your own like flavor on that. And I try to do that with each one of my clients, like thinking about their brand voice and what would connect with their audience versus just, whatever's floating around on the internet.
Yeah. So then your advice to someone who is like producing content on social media would be to
do a mix. I think I'll take that back. I think right now on social media, the biggest thing is to be yourself, is to try something different. That's what's catching people's attention, and to be consistent with that difference, whatever that thing is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Being themselves. How were you learning like I'm sure like there's new things that come out that you want to, that you want to adopt. Is there anything in particular that you're like struggling with that you're trying to adopt?
Ooh.
That's new?
I don't even think that is new, but what I struggle with, and it's funny that you said that, is the voiceover.
Okay.
Because I'm learning different things about it, but I don't want to ramble and I don't want to be too long-winded, because then if it's over a minute, then like it's not going to move on the internet. So I'm trying to be concise. I'm also trying to show my personality. I'm also trying to have a good hook. So you have all these different things that you want to put in a voiceover, and just learning different techniques so that I can keep putting out content, but not taking forever, or not like being nervous or like overthinking it. So one little tip that I learned from probably on TikTok or YouTube video, because I was trying to get better at it, is to say it how you would say it to a friend and like voice record it on the Notes app, and then just repeat it that way. I'm like, that's amazing. Instead of, because at one point in time I was like writing it down.
Oh,
No.
It's going to sound like you wrote it down.
I wrote it down. So then I did the voice note thing, and I'm like, oh, this is so much more fluid. And I could take parts out that was like long-winded and whatnot. So yeah, just doing different little things like that. The things that I'm noticing that is tripping me up or like stopping me from posting, or like I don't even want to do it because it seems like it's such a hassle.
Hesitation.
Yeah. So most recently it's voiceovers. We'll see what happens next week. It's going to be another gap.
It's always something. But I admire your courage to still continue to figure it out, to say like, me not knowing or not feeling it when it comes to voiceovers is not going to stop me from posting. It's not going to stop me from showing up.
For sure.
And so how do you show up consistently? Like what do you have in place in your life that allows for you, or even a mindset that you have that allows you to continue? Because other than the fact that you have to because it's your job.
Yeah.
Prior to that, you were putting out content when you were working. Like,
for sure.
How were you able to consistently show up?
I think I literally have a love for it. Like when I get online and I'm scrolling and I'm seeing everybody else's content, I get FOMO for not posting. Like I'm like, I want to post too. Like I want to show up. I want to show my creativity or what I'm doing and share with people. So it's literally like a love. I have to remind myself like, oh, Kadeja, you're not getting paid yet to post your own content. Like, you need to be posting other people's stuff for your clients.
Yeah.
But I literally love just showcasing what I'm doing and hearing other people's feedback and saying, oh, I'm so glad that you posted that because I went to the restaurant the other week. Or, oh, it looked like you had so much fun in London or whatever I did. And also having a camera, like not DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Really shameless plug. That's a great piece of equipment.
Okay.
But having that and then capturing so many different pieces of content that way too, and it's not all on my phone.
Yeah.
And like it's
because storage. Okay. Well.
I don't have enough storage right now. So having like another piece, like another content creation tool like CapCut and all that really just keeps me inspired.
And it seems like a simple, like the things that you use are simple. You didn't try to get all of the latest and greatest in different things, because then you have this learning curve of trying to learn this new equipment while trying to produce this content. And so when most people roll their eyes when they're like, you could just use your phone. Like when people like us say, just use your phone.
Use your phone, girl.
Because it's good quality and you want to get
right there.
It's simple, right? Because if you feel like you put another block in front of you as I have to get this new camera that costs $600, $500.
And then when you post everything, when you record and everything in slow-mo by mistake, and then you're mad because the daggone video didn't record, stuff like that. That has happened to me. So it's like,
oh gosh,
the path of least resistance.
Yes,
sometimes.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
There you go. That word, that part right there. I've recorded full-on videos.
No audio.
I'm like, forget it. Forget everything.
Right? And then you try to do it again, and then it's like dry.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? Never mind.
I'm out of here.
done.
This is not right. That's so good. I have seen you post more food content.
Yeah.
That I just closer.
Yeah.
That I enjoy watching.
that.
And so,
Okay.
how long have you been a foodie?
I'm in a place where I'm just trying different things. I'm going to see what takes off and what I enjoy doing. And I'm trying to create more series. So that's why I did the food one. And it definitely took off more than I anticipated. I was invited to a few different restaurants. I'm like, oh, this is what the people want. So I've been invited to like different influencer things because I'm posting that content. So definitely recommend, like, if you're interested in doing a traveling or like doing food, like put some effort into it and see what happens.
Because did that come quickly? The people inviting you to restaurants?
quick.
Just you showing up and saying, "Hey, I was already going to the restaurant.
Right.
I was already going to eat."
You're
this."
already there.
Yeah.
Like, you already doing the content. So like creating a series or creating yourself or positioning yourself, I should say, as such, as the authority on food or as the authority on beauty. People will gravitate towards that.
But starting off like actually liking it too.
Yeah, enjoying that.
Yes, because that is the part, at least for me, that I've struggled with in the past was like I would do a bunch of stuff because I thought that was what people wanted. I remember a while back I was doing like OOTDs and like showing my fit and things.
But you do like doing that.
I know. Listen, so it was the struggle was I was trying to do it in the way that I've seen others do it.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't feel in the moment like me. And when I watch it back, I'm like, who's that girl? Who is she? What is she trying to do? Like, what is she trying to? And so I do like showing my fit, but it's just how you approach it as you. If you feel in the moment like it doesn't feel like yourself,
then it's
don't
probably
do it.
Not your vibe.
Yeah. If you don't like food or traveling,
Or
and
if you're not already doing those things.
yes, yeah. And I think that also makes it more streamlined if you're already doing the things. Like I was already having these types of conversations, and I'm like,
Let me just press
record. And yes, because I'm like these type of things can help people. That's when you start to realize, oh, what I'm doing can actually help someone. When you have people reaching out to you and saying
it's like,
like,
oh girl, I'm like in the DMs like, oh girl, what restaurant should I go to in the DMV? I'm like, let me go look at what I've been posting in the past and show you what really I enjoyed.
now people are looking to you for that information too. So
I'm like, now I'm committed, I guess. Like now I'm committed to it.
oh my
So
goodness. Okay, so how do you find like creative inspiration for all the things you do?
Oh, I do have like a few people that I follow that I'm like, okay, I like what they're doing. I like that they're standing out. And sometimes it's not even like the biggest creators, but it's someone in the tuck that's like showing up consistently as themselves. And then actually getting out, like I went to London and I went to Spain. So seeing different parts of the world or even like in the DMV, just exploring. So all of that just lends to my creativity as well, just trying to get out of my normal. And that's what gives the content too, because if everybody likes the day in the life and the day-to-day things, but
Right.
I think what really strikes people's or like grabs your attention is when people are going and doing something outside of the norm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like traveling and so what was that London trip? How was that?
London was fun. London was fun. It was my first time ever like across that way. I've been to Canada and like Mexico, the typical vacation spots. So being over there was really, really, really dope, really inspiring. There's so many different parts of the world that I've never seen. So it definitely like got my gears turning.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at it like, what if I move and leave to America? Like, I'm not going.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay.
But that would be cool. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Okay, so did it do anything specific, like for anything that you were working on, or did it
No,
just
no,
kind
it
of
wasn't
like
related. It was
Okay.
a way for me to, even though I have a ton of content that I want to push out now, but I'm not even approaching it how I would typically approach when I have such great content or I'm sitting on something like that, because it was such a step away from what I usually do. I didn't even want to immediately jump on it and create content. I just wanted to have it for myself for a little bit and just say like, that was a good trip or that was a good time. Like that really showed me a different thing. So yeah,
Oh, good.
I'm gonna slow drip it out like you
yeah.
taught me.
Okay. Listen, I love a good rollout
Hey.
when it's like building up the hype of something and just seeing little peaks here and there. Okay,
yeah.
what she got going on in the
Like,
cut
what she
there?
was doing.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So then, is there anything that you're currently working on or have worked on that like you're the most proud of?
Ooh.
You're like, I did that.
I think it's still to come.
Okay.
I think it's still to come. I feel like every time I put something out and I'm like proud of it, but I'm always on to the next thing, which is probably, I need to go to therapy about that. But yeah,
I have the same
You have the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's cool or whatever, but in my head, I got even bigger
Yep.
to come. So I'm just excited that I'm always anticipating the next thing, always leveling up, always just looking forward.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
And so you said 2025. What things are you hoping come creatively from that experience? Is there anything that you want to learn that you don't currently know?
Ooh.
If you're enjoying this episode so far, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving us a review so more creatives like you find the show. Thanks for your support. Let's get back to the episode.
I want to dabble in script writing.
Okay.
Random, right? I want to see what
That's
it's
my
like
alley
to be in
right
like
there.
a writer's room. I had the random thought. I was like, wow, I wonder what a writer's room is like. I'll never see it inside of a writer's room. Like, why not? Like all the things that I thought I'd never do. I'm like, why not explore? So
Yeah.
I'm hoping 2025 will give me, I know it will give me more space to play around and be in rooms with people that can show me different things. So
Yeah. And I think you're in the perfect position as far as like what you do and the people that you already surround yourself with to be able to learn those different types of things. That's so crazy that you say that because I'm literally in film school right now. Yeah. Learning.
the girls in film school right now.
Yes. I'm trying to double down on the thing that I know I want to do versus like playing around with the thing that's going to give me the quick result.
That's where, okay. So
Yeah.
we need to talk more about films. How was film school? Like, when did you start going to film school, Justin?
Yeah. I actually started in September. And so,
dope.
yeah, so originally I was going back and forth between doing screenwriting, like a focus, or doing cinematography since I have my
Okay.
photography background. And I picked cinematography because I'm like, I want to be the creative eye of a film.
Yeah.
And so now, versus just assuming I know all there is to know about film, I'm like, let me go to school.
Yeah.
Let me go to school and learn the techniques and things that I don't know. Because we come from a self-taught, myself, everything I know right now.
Right.
Everything. And so I would like the formal education, but then also network and talk to other people who are already in the industry. And so I'm excited to see the stories that come out of me with all of the, and I'm the type of person too that does a lot of creating behind the scenes and doesn't have the thing to.
That sounds like a director to me. That sounds like someone in the big leagues.
Listen, I'm trying because it's the self-talk. And so everybody that I sit down with, I ask them questions as like, what is it that you're thinking, or your mindset behind some of the things you do? Do you have that voice that's like talking you out of it the entire times?
Sure. Yeah.
Because that voice will get loud sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, nobody cares about this thing that nobody's ever even seen yet.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Yeah. And you have so many ideas and things, and you talk yourself before you even get the idea out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, has that ever happened to you?
For sure. For sure. I think in the same with, like when I got laid off, it's like I was very cognizant of who I told certain things to, because I had to convince myself, like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You don't have room for any negative decisions or like any like small voices. Of course, I like had a moment and I got it out and I was like, okay, this is, I'm deciding, I'm taking control of my mind, my thoughts, and this is what we're doing. So a lot of times I had to do that with anything that I'm nervous about or like putting out. I tell myself all the time, especially with social media, like, nobody cares, but in a good way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Nobody cares in a good way. Like if you post it and it doesn't do anything, it's freaking Instagram. Like it's not gonna be the end of the world.
Don't take it too seriously.
You know, and the people that needs to see it sees it.
Yes. And that the people that it needed to touch or to learn from will, and that's always been my prayer for anything that I create, was like, I hope that the person that this was meant for, that they receive it, even if it was meant for me to just create it for my own sake, that translates it, where I'm not trying to try too hard and, you know, be liked and be impressive and all of the things. And I'm still trying to work through that.
Yeah. Post the things, post your content, people. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. And then in the world right now where everyone has the same opportunity to be a content creator or an influencer or behind the scenes. Yeah, all of the things. It makes it look easy though. And so people are just posting content to post. At what point does a person say, okay, I do want this to be my career. I've already realized I like doing it now. I've posted enough just to post. How do they go from just posting to now having a more like strategic, targeted approach?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. No, I think it's a decision. Like you're saying, like it's a decision that, no, I'm not posting just to post. I have an end goal in mind. I have a purpose that's bigger than I'm just posting just to get something off real quick. Yeah. So I think it's the intention behind it. Okay. And I think that it translates too. Like when you can tell like, oh, a person is really thoughtful in what they're posting on a quote unquote schedule, or you know, they're posting with more intention than what others are.
Yeah. Or even like a more of a focus. So like I always bring up this example. If you want, or you said it earlier, if you wanted to work with restaurants, you already like food and things, you can double down on that specifically and then, you know, tag the restaurants and start, you know, making those decisions to kind of not just post to post, but now being more strategic and then having a goal. Like, are there any like specific brands or businesses that you would dream to collaborate with?
Everyone. At one point in time, I wanted to be in Target so bad, but since being in like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, I'm realizing like, okay, maybe that's not the goal either. Like maybe it's not working with the brands, even though I would still love to go on a brand trip or like go here and there, but I think it's connecting with people more so, like connecting with other creatives that I respect and that are thinking outside of the box is what I'm more eager with. I think we're moving in a space, if we're not already there, where brands understand like the power of us, like the power of regular people, the power of influencers, quote unquote, or creatives in general to move the needle. So I just want to focus on being in the same space with people that are pushing things. So
so not necessarily like have the desire to work with like these big...
even though like I think that's the room. I think I'm more focused on the people in the room versus the room itself.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. That is good. That's good. Wow. So was it always that, or did that have to come?
No, that definitely came after I been in the quote unquote industry. Once I'm realizing like, oh, it's not about where you are. It's really like noticing, oh, that's the person that knows such and such, or that's the person that produced this piece of content for something in the water or like whatever. I'm looking at the tags, like who's the photographer, who's the creative brand. And then once, you connect with those people and they see you as a peer, now you're going along for the journey with them. So that's kind of where my mind is now, like networking that way versus, I want to go to this. And then you're in the room, like you're in the festivals or you're in the restaurant, but you don't know anybody.
Yeah. Wow, that's a gem right there. Yeah.
You're welcome, people.
Okay. Looking at them tags, because I've done that.
For sure.
Anytime I see like photos and things of people that I admire, like photographers, I look at who the DP was or, who the photographer was.
Followers. Yeah. Like, scroll. Like, she works for what? Oh, she's in Essence. Oh, that's nice. Okay, follow.
Yeah. Sure. So following them is just like, do you feel like that's just the initial,
I just want to be in the world. Like, I just want to see, and maybe you follow me back and then you peep that I do dope things too. And I'm like, that's cool. But if you don't, I kind of study how people move sometimes on Instagram if you post enough. Yeah.
Okay. Did you always see yourself as creative or?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely not. I thought it was always something quirky, and that's kind of where I found myself in like human services, because I'm like, okay, this seems like the most open-ended answer. Like, I know I like people, I know I like community, so whatever that means, like maybe I'll be in a space and just want to help people. Like that's all I thought, especially coming out of high school, which I think is a crazy age to make any determinations for the rest of your life. Like,
right out of high school,
insane.
right? Yes.
Insane time frame. 18, what? So yeah, I just said, I love community. I have a heart for people. And I was just going to go with that. So as I've gotten older, and really dabbled in different things, then I found creativity. Then I found like, I have a voice in this way.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I got here. But I just continue to show up, and then it's fueling and paying for things that I'm so blessed and fortunate that I can just show up as myself and these things are happening. So I'm just going to continue to take that chance. Like, okay, girl, if you show up and you do X, Y, Z, money comes. So that's
nice. Like, and yes, I feel like that's the goal, to show up as myself, being able to get paid for my creative mind and ideas, and also be able to impact people all in the same. That's I made it. So like that.
Very fortunate.
That
Hopefully
would be.
It just keeps going this way, because like it could take a hard left.
But you've learned how to pivot.
Because we can go back. We got a job. We got, the job listings are there. Indeed is still there. That's something that keeps me sane. It's like, girl, if it all goes downhill tomorrow, we can go search on this little internet and go find you a job.
And luckily now that we're moving to a place where, like you said, businesses are now starting to adopt these social media managers, or you can maybe still be in the world, but not like
completely dependent on it.
But and I found myself just going back and forth with, I definitely want to be an entrepreneur, a creative entrepreneur, and work for myself, but like being okay that like God has me still in communications, because I'm still being able to learn all of the different skills where I'm currently at, and not feeling like, you get this this feeling of like, I just want to work for myself, so I'm just going to jump, either quit my job, or I'm going to resent where I'm at so much that you can't even attract the opportunities over here, because you're trying to run from, your 9 to 5.
Definitely have been there. I'm resented. And they had to, they probably should have let me go. I hated that job.
Oh, yeah.
Hated it.
I feel
it just wasn't for me. And then I think I created, it like radiated off of me that it must have been, it's time to free her. Free that girl. Free her.
It gets to that point too, where it's like, especially when you've come to the revelation that this is not for me. I know that this over here feels more authentic to myself and is more aligned with what I want to do. This isn't it. And so like holding that tension of, I can't leave here yet. If I'm not forced out, I can't leave here yet.
I need them benefits.
Yeah, but I wanna pursue this over here.
Yeah.
And so like, do you have any advice for someone trying to pursue this over here while still being where they are?
Trying to think about what I would tell my future, my past self. Don't give up on what you want to do. And take the time and be patient, be grateful of the space that you're in, and learn from, like you were sharing, learn what you can from your 9 to 5, and take all of the references, take all of the very important, structure. That's something for me I needed. I needed to learn the structure. I needed to learn how to talk to people.
Yeah.
So all those things, like, take what you can from your 9 to 5, but don't give up. I think a lot of times, like, it's not a no, it's just not right now.
Which is
So yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard.
So hard. I was just watching a TikTok and he was saying, like, the success that you want is on the other side of consistency. He said he gave some percentage of people who will give up because they're not seeing a result from their effort. And I'm like, you're talking to me, because if I don't see the result in my mind, this don't work. I know how to get another idea and figure something else out over here. But it's like, you didn't even keep chipping away at this long enough or stay consistent at it long enough in order to see the result of what that could have been.
Sometimes it's like, when you have an idea, it's good when you first start, but then if you keep at it, you start figuring out, like, different pieces that you can move so that it could work even better. So I think sometimes it's not switching the whole idea. It's like, okay, keep with that idea, but maybe you need to change this, or, like, maybe you need to add this. So yeah.
Okay, so peeling back the layers of it, because you're right, because I'm dramatic. I'm like, throw the whole idea out.
We need something new. No, like, maybe you just needed to change the font, girl. Like,
right. Yeah, but taking that moment to pause and ask yourself the question, like, why isn't this working?
Yeah.
Is it something I'm doing? Is it, how I'm
authentic?
Yeah, like, or what's the process looking like? That's good. So YouTube.
Yeah.
You are on YouTube.
I am. Am I? Who's really on YouTube? Like, we're on it. Yeah. We're trying.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your plans for YouTube? Like, you're posting.
I know for me, I'm trying to get to that monetization point.
Yes.
So I'm trying to see what works. A lot of times I was doing I do a lot of things. So that's kind of why YouTube is a struggle for me, because I don't know how to show up sometimes. I want to show up in all these different ways. And then YouTube is like, no, girl, what is your channel about? Like, what are we doing here? And it's like,
it's different from, like, TikTok and Instagram, where you can have these different, you need to focus. Yeah.
Or so that's what YouTube says.
Yes.
So, sometimes I post collage things that do really well. Sometimes I post concert dumps of, like, all the concerts that I've been to and all the clips, like, in one little thing. Sometimes I post vlogs. Sometimes I post, like, sit-down videos where I'm, like, sharing what I do and, like, how I monetize and, like, how I make money as a full-time creative. So, yeah, I'm just kind of throwing everything at the wall. But at the same time, I love long form. I think that's where most creatives need to go. Especially, like, as we're moving forward to get monetized, to get the money, to get the brand deals. It's also build community. I think YouTube is a great place to build community on.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Because it's long form and you spend more time with the creator, what was it that drew you to it initially, YouTube?
It was trying to build community in a long form way and trying to get more of my thoughts out and trying to show more of my life. Initially. Now, vlogging is a time.
I would say, God bless your heart for vlogging. Yeah.
And at the same time, I love YouTube because you can show up however you so choose.
Yes.
When I first got on YouTube, I thought it was only one way to show up because I wasn't really familiar with the platform. I didn't really spend that much time on it myself. And that's a knock to me. Because YouTube is an amazing place because you can show up in all these different ways. Like, I'm really into video essays now, thinking about maybe shifting my content to that, where it's like just a deep dive. Have you ever seen a video essay?
No.
It's basically like an essay like you used to write in school, but it's with different clips over you speaking about a topic and going deep diving into it.
Okay.
So yeah, you can get in a rabbit hole on YouTube. But yeah,
for sure. And so what would your video essays be on?
Just questions that keep me up at night. I'm really into, like, nostalgia YouTube, so they're, like, deep diving on 2000s rap or, like, very random. So I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be, but yeah, I used to love essays in high school, so I want to go back into that. You did it?
No,
I love, like,
I like writing, but it's what's weird. It's weird. I really enjoy writing, but reading,
No, that's interesting.
I know, it's crazy. And I'm trying to like develop the discipline of reading because what makes a good writer is
You
a
look
reader.
like a reader girl.
Do I?
You fit the aesthetic.
Okay, let me just.
You just need to pick up a book. You fit
Right.
the aesthetic. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't. I read, but I don't finish the book, and so I feel like, okay, you read, first 3 chapters.
Do you think it's
you got what you
the
needed.
book, or do you think it's you?
It might be the book because, and that's just because I don't want to say it's me.
Right. I'm like,
But-
hold on now.
But just because, like, all of the books that I find myself reading are non-fictional help.
Oh, that's the problem. Yeah. Don't do that.
Because I'm thinking, my brain is going the
and
whole
then
time.
you're like, let me just go fix myself then.
Yes, and I'm not enjoying the book at all because
They're reading you for filth.
I'm picking myself apart. So yeah, maybe it's that is why I haven't gotten into.
For sure. It is that. You need some fiction books.
Okay.
I like to go back and forth because I do get in that mode where, first of all, you can't tell me about me because you don't know me, author man, in this book. So you're not about to be telling me about my life and trying to get me together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then some of them are super preachy in a way that's,
Condemning.
Yeah. So definitely switch it up. Get some fiction in there to
Okay.
kind of take your mind away.
And then they're more story based.
Yeah.
Too. So you have any recommendations?
Because
I know you're a reader girly.
Yeah, I am a reader girly. It's this book. Have you ever heard of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? That's a good book.
No, The 7 Husbands.
The 7 Husbands.
That's a great
of,
start.
There you go.
to a book.
It's a little messy. I think you might like it.
7 Husbands. Okay, I'll check that one out.
There
I
you
am
go.
gonna, because I've been told that like maybe nonfiction is the reason. But
Yeah, or I like self-help and like fiction. Like I said, go back and forth because
Okay.
it can like
Balance.
the stories can be a little like, okay, this is a bit too much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think also just exploring with different mediums of creativity. So like reading, painting. So you do collage,
I do.
photography, videography, like all of these different things kind of make you a more dynamic, complex creative. And like you can step in a room and feel like, maybe I don't belong here, but I have all of these things I can now pull on to
Yeah.
show up in this room and like solve problems that you probably didn't even know you were
Yeah.
in there to solve.
Yeah, or show up in a way that they weren't expecting, or
Yes.
like, notice what the room needs and kind of step into that. Yeah,
That's a skill right there.
it is.
Being
And I
able-
also will never get bored.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing too. Yeah. When I feel creative blocks, that's kind of how I ended up in videography because I felt over illustration and then I started photography. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to buy anything more expensive than this. So I didn't want to buy a better camera. So I said, okay, well, let me see what else. And then I started collage. And then when I did collage and I posted on YouTube, I started editing. And I was like, oh, this is cool.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's how I got
So
there.
it was like a fluid, discovery of different things. Like you
Yeah.
didn't go into it like I need to be a video editor or.
No.
See, I have the issue where when I'm like learning something new or say I need the skill of something and I learn that skill, now I want to be the thing.
The best of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I just want to be average at a lot of things, and then maybe I can be proficient somewhere. Because I do want to, like, with you going to film school,
Yeah.
speaks to that whole conversation that we just had. Like, I want to be the best filmmaker ever. Me, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm about to go make a documentary tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I'm just gonna do the thing and then learn along the way. But I think I need to complement both of those because,
Yes.
like I just said, like I'll never be, not never, but I probably won't be able to reach the ultimate height because I reached a cap. I reached a ceiling that I'm not willing to go over because of whatever reason.
Yeah. Do you have any like I know I asked if you had anybody that inspires you, like any celebrities or like a creative, I call it the Creative Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And so in mine, I have Pharrell. He's like number one. And
Did you
he's
see
from,
Piece by Piece?
no.
You have to go.
It's
Everybody
'cause
should
my
go
son doesn't want to see it. So I'm like,
Oh, well, don't take him.
right. You're going to ruin
It's
it
not
for me.
it's not a kid movie.
I didn't think so.
No, it's there, and I see it actually flopped, and I see why because when I went to go see it, it's a very niche market.
Okay.
It's for people that like documentaries,
Okay. Check.
people that don't mind watching cartoons,
Okay.
and
Oh, yeah.
you have to have like some basis of respect or love for Pharrell.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes.
You check the boxes. Great. You will love it.
check.
You
Because
would love it. I loved it too. I thought it was great.
yeah, he's like, He's number one for me. So Pharrell, Virgil Abloh, love him. Love Kanye too.
God bless him.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
A little touched.
Okay.
I think most geniuses are though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in some way, for sure. Who else? Beyonce, obviously.
The queen.
Obviously. I'm trying to think. I really love Chadwick.
Okay.
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. He's an actor. If y'all didn't know that,
Right.
that's
Do we have
great.
to clarify that?
I know, right? I'm like,
Just in case.
yeah, those are some of my favorites. I can go down a film hole, but those are like Pharrell, Kanye, and Virgil are like top.
Okay.
And then you have Beyonce.
I'm wondering why you don't have any women. Well, you have Beyonce.
And then as I'm saying the list, I'm like, you don't have
have
any
any
women
Interesting.
other than Beyonce that like creatively inspires me
Okay.
to do something. That is really weird.
You gotta sit with that.
Okay, Sayla.
Mine is Issa Rae
Okay.
and Quinta
that's a
Brunson.
good one. Okay.
And I think it's because of my tie to like social media and how they were able to take what they were doing on social and bring it to the real life world, and also like put on their friends without losing their creative.
Yeah.
You know?
Or their authenticity. Like
Right.
they really definitely, for what it looks like, shows up,
as themselves.
As
And also
themselves.
like monetize their selves, like their own personal brand. Like you can tell when Issa has her hand on something or when Quinta has Abba Elementary,
Yes.
it's like, no, this is very uniquely them.
Yes.
And it can't be done without them type vibe.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Especially with Issa, like when it's by her. Girl, I'm still stuck on the fact that I don't have any women on my list.
Or maybe we need to work on that, like
Yeah.
spotlighting more Black women creatives or women creatives in general.
Yes, because they're not necessarily on the forefront unless they're like masterful at the thing, or like, and I wouldn't even say that because you can still be masterful at the thing and be behind the scenes or be behind a Black man, or you know what I'm saying, like, yeah,
Talk about behind the back man, yeah.
to where you don't really get the credit or the
notoriety,
Yeah.
That's where two things. That's where I would not mind being. I think if I was continuing to be myself and like, let's say, billionaire.
Right.
I want to be the person behind. Like, I want to be able to still go to Walmart. Like, I don't need nobody
Yes.
to know.
And it's important to know
Yeah.
that before you start. So I'm going back and forth. A part of me is like, I want to be on stage accepting an award for best, film, best director, whatever, but also want to be able to go to Walmart with my son
and be chilling.
and be chilling. Like, I don't have to be this
I'm sad. What is the director that did Black Panther?
Ryan Coogler. Love him.
Love him.
I was going to put him on my list, but I said, that's to me Black
That's
men.
the Black man now.
On
No,
the list.
but Ryan, I seen an interview that he did with Angie Martinez. That I'm like, oh my God, he's not even very well spoken.
No.
That inspired me.
I was saying, what does that do for you? Yes.
Because I definitely never, first of all, this whole podcast thing last year never would have happened.
Okay.
I've been asked to do things and like speak on things, and
Because
No.
it's the feeling
It's
like
the
you have to
voice.
be, yeah.
and you have to be the authority. What's the word? The authority.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing, and I think
Okay.
that's power in that. Number
Yes.
one, like
Yeah.
that's why I love showing up on social media as myself, because I want people to know that I'm still figuring this out and that you can too. Like you
Yes.
can show up as yourself and not knowing what's next, but you have a power and a voice in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ryan Coogler was all over the place, like his thoughts and words, and I'm like, that's me. But he's still on there
relate.
talking. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I love that you said you're still figuring it out. Like, you can be in a room, a crowded room, a room where there's a Ryan Coogler, there's an Angie, and still be figuring it out and not like the most perfect, or like there's no specific
Not
aesthetic.
polished, yeah.
Yeah. Thing to it, because he's all over the place, but like he's very smart. And that man can tell a story. And he's masterful at what he does.
He is very much so.
And so there's no one aesthetic to it, and that you should be comfortable with showing up. Like, I had watched he had did a keynote speech, and I was at, I forget where he was speaking at, but that was the first thing that came to mind. Here you are delivering a speech to other filmmakers, young filmmakers, reading off the paper, and you can tell, first of
was
all,
nervous.
thick accent, California accent, and yeah, it was just like, but people are still here leaning into what it is you have to say, because also your work speaks for itself. So.
And also, like, I think I had to get in my head, like, I don't need to change how I speak, because who needs to hear it and who understands is the person that needs to understand. You know, like, I don't think it's going to be a barrier if that message is for them. They should be able to relate and understand what I'm saying.
Period.
So, yeah.
Yeah. This was great. This was so good.
We did that.
We did. Listen, I missed my time marker of 40 minutes. I said,
Lord,
this
we'll
is
be
getting
on.
good. 58. We good though. It's okay. But I wanted to leave the audience with two things. One, tell them where they can find you online, but also give, if you had to give advice to your younger self, yourself before you were who you are today, what would you tell her?
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be creative focused. Just what would you tell your younger self that you know now?
Let's start with what I would tell my younger self. I would tell her to try all of the things. Like, don't feel like you have to be the best, but don't count yourself out before you even try. And I think I did that a lot when I was younger. Just trying to make sure that everything I did was absolutely perfect, or I wouldn't even try it. And I think I probably would have been even further along. Well, everything happens for a reason, but I probably would have been even, or found out different aspects of myself earlier in life if I wasn't so scary.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good, girl.
Also, you can find me on Instagram at _K Liggans, and all the other places are there. So that's like the central hub. And if you need me anywhere else, you can find me.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you.
Great. I'm so happy. She did that. Yes, to her podcast.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning into the Creators Loft podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, consider subscribing to the channel or leaving us a review. Your support helps me reach more creatives like you.